Howdy, I'm Oliver Smith from Race Day Studios. Just like many other people around the world, I've been watching the 33rd games of the Olympiad, aka the Olympics, all week long. It's great. Every hour on the hour there's some exciting sport playing. There's ones you never watch on the regular, like BMX racing and surfing, and there's others we all know and love, like basketball and gymnastics. It's insane, it's wild, it's exciting, and it's entertaining. But it's got one huge gaping hole. Where's the motorsports? Why aren't we racing some souped up cars around a track in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower? Why aren't we zooming on the street around the Louvre? Why are we not rolling along the Seine River? Answer me that. Imagine Ryan Blaney, Max Verstappen, and Joseph Newgarden hanging out on the podium. Can you imagine William Byron fighting for position with Lando Norris? Why are we not doing this? I have two answers to this. Number one, racing anything around the Louvre is a bad idea, much less 200 mile an hour behemoth race cars. And number two, there are no other answers. Before I get started, I want to send a massive shout out to ESPN sports writer Ryan McGee. He wrote an article on this exact subject that inspired me to make this video. If there's one phrase to live your auto racing arguments by, it's Ryan McGee is never wrong. There's so many things he pointed out about this argument and so many more things I want to add to it. I can only hope the International Olympic Committee, is that what they're called, is watching this. First off, it's not like auto racing is true only to one country. Every single country in the world has auto racing. Most other Olympic sports do not spread to the whole world, but every country seems to have someone crazy enough to strap themselves into a race car. Second, a lot of people argue that it isn't physically draining enough. There are tons of sports that aren't physically draining in the Olympics. But then they say that those sports are mentally draining. You have to have a lot of mental control in equestrian, for example. But in auto racing, there is no mental drain, they say. Try shifting gears to get the exact right speed and touch the brakes just right as you hit a turn. Try being a crew chief and having to come up with a complicated strategy to make it to the end of the race properly. And how is auto racing not physically draining? Hours in a hot car with a heart rate nearing 200, if not over, tugging on a steering wheel every second. You have to be fit to race cars. Trust me, I know of tons of race car drivers who constantly do CrossFit. Years ago, the Olympics may have still had the excuse that auto racing wasn't popular, but that's over now. All over the world, there are hundreds of millions of racing fans, far more than sailing or swimming or track and field or even 3-on-3 basketball or sport climbing and so much more. There are tons of sports that don't have as many fans as race car driving. There really isn't an excuse anymore, aside from one teensy issue of money. A race car does cost quite a bit of cash, but there are so many ways around that. Need to go green? Throw them in electric cars. Need to have money for it? Use cars from some particular auto racing sport that none of the Olympians have ever raced in. Then you don't have to spend money on building the cars. There are no longer any excuses. Auto racing should be a sport in the Olympics. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your friends and family about Race Day Studios. And don't forget to tell them howdy, because it's rude to start a conversation without a greeting.